Hello, William of Legend Trackers here, and we are at what is probably Nevada's Gettysburg. We're standing at the historic Fort Churchill, and this is just south of Silver Springs, Nevada. Behind me you can see some of the ruins here. These are adobe ruins. The history of this I'm not really up on. I do know that this is all soldiers' quarters. The soldiers in the armies would stay here. These were built in 1860. I do know there was tremendous battles here, battles with Indians. This particular building that I'm standing at here, we believe a lot of the cannons and things and arms are lined up here facing the mountains because these attacks generally came from the mountains. That's how the Indians would sneak in, try to sneak up on the fort. A lot of death here. Very, very haunted. A lot of the death from the battles, people's wounds. I would imagine the winters were very, very bad here, very cold. I also have been told that there was yellow fever here, influenza, tuberculosis, a lot of death from that. The ruins of the hospital over here. This place is particularly active spirit-wise at night. You need special permission to come at night. I've never been here after dark, but been here today a couple times. This is my third time here. The gang is not here. We do have Rachel, she's on the camera, and you only get to hang out with Rachel if you're cool, so I feel very privileged. But anyway, we're going to be poking around here. I don't know how much activity we'll get. The activity we've had that I know of, Andrew and I were here one time, and over by the hospital we happened to hear some conversation going on. It's not like two men talking. It was a doctor and a soldier. We couldn't record it, but we could audibly hear the conversation with our ears. This building behind us, we were walking back to the car, and as we were walking back, we heard what sounded like residual cannon fire going off from this building. As I said, this makes sense because this is probably where they reconnaissance themselves to watch for attacks and things. So, as I said, very active, very haunted, big history here. Not much of the building standing, but we're going to go poke around and see what we can come up with, and see if we can get something, maybe document something as well. So, I'll take the camera from Rachel, and we'll see what we can do. Thank you. And anyway, it's a little better look at this building here. We can walk around the other side. Take a quick look here. Now, you're not allowed to walk in any of the ruins here, so we stay outside. But very dry here. A lot of jackrabbits, a lot of lizards. I'm also told there's a lot of rattlesnakes here, so we gotta watch out where we step. But very quiet. No traffic sounds or anything. So anywhere where you get the battles and the wars and things that took place here, you're going to have hauntings, you're going to have activity. And just as I say, just like Gettysburg, few other places in the United States. This one ahead of us there, was the ruins of where the officers' quarters were. Like I said, not a lot left here. These are just made of adobe. And there's a little bit of wood involved and stuff. Well, all the wood is gone pretty much. So you might find a nail or something around, but again, let's say this place is hot and active at night. I do know some people who were here at night, and they got pictures of an apparition of a man chasing a woman. I have no idea what that was about, but that was actually posted on the internet, I'm told, too. Anyway, this is Rachel. We'll get Rachel in here. Everybody you've seen before, we get Rachel here, and she's not, I guess, truly a legend tracker, but she's great to take along, and she has a great appreciation for the supernatural and a great understanding of it. So I'm always pleased when she's here, when she's along. So I figured we'll just have a nice peaceful day with just the two of us here. I can't think of a nicer place to bring a friend like her than a dry, barren place like this. Back on the trails here. We'll walk around straight ahead of us. Among these buildings, there's the hospital building. We'll go by that and take a quick look at it. So far, no snakes, a few lizards, some rabbits. There's a calm here, but I can also feel kind of like that there was conflict here. That it was kind of almost like an echo of things that happened here, dealing with all the illness and all the military stuff and all kinds of, like I say, there were supposedly many battles here. There is a museum up at the top of the hill here we'll probably go into in a while, where someone I was with took a picture of the statues they have in there, the mannequins they have in there dressed in the army the uniforms of the day, and she got a miss on film around one of the uniforms, which is kind of interesting. We'll probably go take a look at that a little later. But see, we're the only ones here right now. And here's the sign warning us of the rattlesnakes. I see that. So yeah, but hopefully they're still sleeping. So there's these rock piles and things like right here. Those are great places they love to hang out in. So it's perfect territory for them, and they can go in there and cool off during the heat, real bad heat of the day. Quartermaster storehouse, they call this building right here.
No more windows.
Yeah, there's a little bit of wood left in there too. I didn't remember seeing that, but there's got a little bit of the wood frame left. There's not too much of this wood still in these buildings, but they got a wood frame over the door. Yeah, that's interesting. So some of it's still left here. Say the primary structure was adobe, so I imagine they probably used wooden frames and then use brick and mortar, etc., to manufacture these buildings. I did see the apparition of a soldier here, a full-body apparition. In fact, we're headed to the area where it was, right by the hospital. Saw it just for an instant, but that was the last time I was here. So, as I said, they're around even in the day. I'm wondering if perhaps we shouldn't have brought some kind of trigger objects to try to, I don't really know what we would bring, but I imagine you did things like brought cigars, smoked cigars, or some kind of booze or something, or maybe some replica weapons of the day that might entice spirits to come out. This is the hospital right here, and this area I'm going to stand right on here. In fact, we're here, Rachel, I'm going to put you there. So, yeah, this right where I'm going to put her, right about there. Yeah, this is the area where I was over down right here from the hospital, and I happened to look to the left, and standing right where Rachel is was a uniformed soldier, full uniform, big broad-brimmed hat of the type and everything, was standing right there. I caught just a glimpse of him before he vanished, but he was there. So just like the uniformed mannequins in the museum up there. And this is the hospital right here. And so far nothing activity-wise, but you know, see, being someplace, a historic place like this is always interesting. Now, as I said, we're not allowed to go in, but we'll let it lean and get a little shot of inside here. You can just imagine people taking care of patients, and I hate to say it, but they probably only had one or two doctors, maybe a nurse if they're lucky, and their treatment options weren't great here. You probably saw a lot of amputations because they couldn't treat things, infections, very crude surgeries. If surgery was necessary, were probably done here. Probably not a lot of survivors. And of course, if a disease hit, because like I said, I heard that yellow fever was through here and tuberculosis and stuff. And of course, even flu, back then when you got the flu, you died. So there wasn't a lot of recovery from that. So definitely a lot of death here. And, you know, so haunting here is not a big surprise. Quiet as a mouse right now, but I think we're going to walk around the other side. Let's go back around to the back side of this hospital just to see what we can see. But I think that for some reason I get the impression that this building here is probably the one that has the most activity in the property, where because of all the death. I know there are a lot of school tours and things done here. I don't know how many paranormal investigators come out here, but there's definitely reasons to come out here. I think one of these days we might try coming out here at night if we can get permission. So, truck off in the distance.
I wonder what these places would have looked like back in the day.
Yeah. And I'm sure that heating this would have been very difficult during the winters, because we do get very cold winters here. And I'm wondering how many people died of exposure and froze to death and were sick and they couldn't keep them warm. So, who knows? I also tend to wonder what kind of EVPs you might get out here if you did EVP studies. We didn't bring any recorders with us today, other than the one I'm holding, which is not really a recorder, but chance to hearing voices and things. I probably think these benches are not originals. These were probably just put out here by for tourists. You can always feel how difficult, especially at night, it would be to know if there was going to be an attack. You know, because I'm sure the Indians would come out here to get supplies, because if any food was out here, or medicine or weapons or anything else there, they probably would fight pretty hard to get them. And your lighting options, you didn't have any kind of floodlights or anything back then. So what would you do? I mean, you wouldn't see them until they were right up on you, basically. And the battles got very, very intense. So, like I say, there's only about 10 or 12 structures still standing. And I don't know how much the original were, how many there were originally. But I say they're basically in ruin here. A lot of history, but as I said, the feeling here right now is just quiet, very, very quiet. Mild wind. I know that it gets quite hot here in the afternoon. It's only not even 10 o'clock here right now, and it gets to be about noon. You're going to have some pretty scorching temperatures out here. Not too many options as far as shade. But I'm someone who I like historic sites, and especially with the activity going on like these. So it would be quite interesting to be able to do a night investigation here. I'm sure you would talk to do that, but the problem is, of course, is they worry about people doing things they shouldn't do in these structures. And there are always people out there who deface these things and destroy, which is something I will never understand. But those people are certainly out there. Those are the ones I wish the snakes would bite. At the top of the hill here, there's buildings up there, there's restrooms, etc., and there is, and they say, the museum up there, where they have the uniform mannequins. Really head up there in a little while. But maybe I'll stop this for now as we'll relocate. But it's an interesting place, and very historic, and use your imagination. You can feel the conflict, feel what went on here, and if you're someone who has an interest in the Old West or in the battles and things like that, this is probably someplace you want to see. Check it out there. It's very reasonable to come here and see it. So, you're in the area, why not? Check it out, by all means. Fort Churchell. And I'm going to sign this off for now. We'll probably pick up again. We're up at the museum, see what goes on there.